Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
Well, hey, that stink. It does. It stinks. You know, you thought after the home run, okay, finish it tonight. I don't want to think about game 5. All of those wonderful things. Look, I get it's a School Bowl Saturday. It's still a game 5, man. It's still a decider. Everything is too tight. He's Matt Shepard. I'm Sean Baligian. Shep, go.
Second inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. They got 1 run. I thought that was the difference in the game. And I know you and I have talked in the past about specific 5-6 plays can make a game. Perhaps it's not quite as simple as that second inning, but I thought that was the turning point. You had a chance to really, you get 1 run to tie a 1-1. You had a chance to really put up a number there, and the line drive double play ends it. I thought that was a huge part of what took place tonight. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes.
I feel sorry for my guy. I do. And you pointed it out. Bo Brisky has been phenomenal. He really has. All jokes aside, okay? Because Lord knows I've been running with this bit for about 4 months now. He's been phenomenal. And as you said, Shep, look, he's human. Class A's human. More on that in a little bit. Dude has been money, and that arm has got to be feeling it a little bit, right?
Yeah, we love the way they've done this because it's been so unconventional. We love that they represent Detroit in so many different ways, the grit, all the cliches that we've been using over the last 2 months of the season. But it's got to be wearing on them. 27 pitches, I think they said during the broadcast in game 3. And then suddenly you come back and you got to throw as many as you did in game 4. Look, I talked to Jeff Francoeur, who happens to be a friend of mine from our baseball days. And he said, look, Shep, this is the first time we're going to have a series where it's back-to-back games. Remember, there's always a day in between. Right?
Yep.
He said, so this is really going to test not just Detroit's bullpen, but Cleveland's too. It's huge for Cleveland. Massive. It's really big for both teams, but especially Cleveland, to get the day off tomorrow. Okay. But Bo Brisky, like you said, I mean, they've asked a lot of him, and he's performed more than admirably. I just thought, this has got to be a little bit taxing on him. That's all. I had no problem, Sean, no problem with how they use their pitchers tonight. Jackson Jobe, I know, oh my God, Houston. And now he's pitched as many games in the postseason as he had during the regular season. He's got out stuff. He's got really good stuff. Stephen Kwan, how he got to that ball, I don't have no idea. First of all, he gets the barrel on it. Second of all, it's like a 3/4 swing. And, thirdly, he's inside the whole time. He's just an elite hitter. He really is. I have no problem using Jackson Jobe. I think he's got really good stuff. I had no problem the way they used their pitching tonight. Cleveland won 92 games for a reason, Sean. They're pretty good,
I can't stand when people can't give the opposition credit. It drives if the older I get, Shep, honest to goodness, it drives me out of my mind. I think you and I have had this conversation before about one Sidney Crosby. He is phenomenal. He is one of the best players you will ever see, period. You don't have to take my word for it. Ask anybody that with half a brain in their head that's been around this game. This Kwan, I'm so glad that you brought him up. Stephen Kwan is just a hell of a baseball player. And you know what? Maybe people didn't realize this around the nation, but to be able to do it on this stage, unfortunately at our expense, I think he's showing a hell of a lot of people. Shep, you were there. Game in, game out for years. You got a chance to see this guy up close and personal for a while. That's a hell of a ball player that Cleveland has at their disposal.
Yeah, Sean, your example of Sidney Crosby is a really good one because I think we have opinions on certain athletes depending on what they do to our teams.
Yep.
For some reason, people in Detroit never felt that way about Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Why? I have no idea. But that's the way it works. They felt that way about Brett Favre. They felt that way about Aaron Rodgers. They feel that way about guys like Bobby Witt, and they felt that way about George Brett back when you and I were kids. Stephen Kwan, I like watching. I like watching good players. I really like watching that kid play baseball. I think he's fun to watch. I think he does a lot of things right. Stealing bases. The one criticism I had of him tonight on the pass ball where Jake Rogers couldn't find it, Stephen Kwan jogged down to second. He could have easily been at third base.
Agreed. Boy, Shep, it's funny. I saw that too. I'm like, they are lucky he didn't get down to third base.
Yeah, no doubt. But I'm a little bit with Alan here. He says, look, I know I shouldn't be, but that game is super deflating. Felt like it was a winnable game. I'm sure Cleveland felt like game 3 was winnable, or maybe more specifically game 2, right? When Class A gave up some runs in a 3-0 loss. This is what happens, There are disappointments. Kansas City probably felt like last night was a winnable game. The Dodgers probably felt, or San Diego in a 6-5 final, that was a winnable game. This is what makes playoff baseball so much freaking fun, but it also brings us to the edge of our seat almost on every inning, doesn't it?
Yep. It is absolutely phenomenal. Tom in London, good evening. Left a lot of runners on base. Bullpen pitcher arms look tired. Alan also added, we have the best pitcher in the league on the mound Saturday. Shep and I want to get into that in a big way. And I don't want to be a doom and gloom guy. I don't want anybody to misconstrue, because hear me out. There isn't another pitcher I'd rather have on the mound. Okay.
Agreed.
Really and truly, there is no, save the thought, Shep, because I think you and I are in the same vibe here, but don't jump on us just yet, Matt. Sean loves Ryan Day and Sidney Crosby now. I have gotten the Sidney Crosby stuff for 15 years, and I marvel watching him play hockey. I do. The little things that guy consistently does, phenomenal. I'm in awe of Sidney Crosby. I'm serious. It's real. Boulder Brown, he is a tough out, plain and simple. Kevin said, can Trace Sweeney possibly take a pitch next time with bases loaded? And what is AJ's obsession with Job?
Well, the obsession with Job, I don't think it's an obsession, but the belief that he has in Job is the fact that this kid has got great, and I mean great stuff. You heard them during the broadcast. Jeff Francoeur, Brian Anderson both said the same thing. He's going to be an absolute horse. He's going to be an ace. He is going to be so important for this team next year. You're going to see Skubal. You're going to see Job. You'll see Reese Olson. And you'll see a free agent pitcher. And you might see a guy like, a Ty Madden or someone like that. I'm telling you, I think the kid, I think he's unnerved. I don't think there's any problem with him. I thought the hit by Kwan was just an incredible piece of hitting, and you got to give him credit. So I don't think there's an obsession there, Sean. I think it's a smart move. I bring him in too. You and I said this last week. What's the point of having him on the roster if you're not going to use him? Okay. It's a clean inning. Go out there. I thought he was fine. Okay. You got to get outs. I get it. But and as far as you going back, look, you've always appreciated Sidney Crosby. I have too. I actually said at one point early in his career, this was before LeBron went on championship runs, but I said Sidney Crosby was better at his sport than LeBron James was at his. I said that early in his career. I can't say that now after all the things that LeBron James has done. Sidney Crosby is not well liked in Detroit. Why? 2009, I guess. He didn't get to center ice fast enough to shake hands. I think he's a phenomenal player. You could argue, I remember talking to Larry Murphy, our friend, last year. He said Sidney Crosby is still the best 200-foot center in the world. Period. Not in the NHL, but in the world. So, I know you say that jokingly. Sean loves Ryan Day and Sidney Crosby. I don't think my friend Sean Baligian loves them, but I know he respects the hell out of Sidney Crosby for sure.
and quite frankly, Ryan Day as well. But that's a story. You and I will have that conversation some other time. Now is not the time for that. Their guy beat our guy. That was Brisky's spot.
Yep.
Quan was definitely a dorm RA that constantly gets on your nerves. That's awesome, Matt. Ted said, and this is Shep, this will open the door to this conversation. Before the series, if you said game 5 with Scuba, would you take it? Absolutely. And I still agree.
Absolutely.
100%. I cannot stress this enough. Here it comes. You knew it was coming, right? But
Right.
how long can he keep this up? Honestly,
Well, that's what I wonder.
How long can he keep? This is insane what he's doing, right? What is it, Shep? Up at 13 innings, he's given up, 8 hits or some crap like that? It's been insane. How long can he keep it up?
Yeah, I guess to be greedy, we're asking for is one more, right? And if you go back at the regular season, Tampa, he didn't allow a run. Kansas City allowed just 1 earned run. I think his last rough outing was against Oakland. I think he went 5 2/3 and gave up 9 hits in a couple innings. And that was early September, I think, Sean. So he's been doing it for a long time. There's nobody I'd rather have too. But I greatly respect Cleveland. I mean, I think they are just as gritty as Detroit. Look, if you're the Tigers, if you're collectively as a team and you're looking in the mirror, you know the one team in this entire Major League Baseball you're looking at? Cleveland. Because they win they win just like you do.
Yep.
So there's nobody I'd rather have. There's nobody I'd rather have managing. I'd rather have a few other position players if you don't mind. But I'm sure there's a lot of people in Philadelphia who thought, all right, we've got Aaron Nola, we're good, right? And Aaron Nola's a former All-Star. He's a really good pitcher. We've got Zach Wheeler. We're good. There's been too many times where teams have gone into a series. We've got Clayton Kershaw. We're good. Where it hasn't always worked out. So I would rather have Tarek Skubal than anybody else, but I respect Cleveland too much to think this is a foregone conclusion. Don't worry about it. I'll see you in the Bronx.
Shep, he has not given up a run, and I'm going to fact check myself here. I was close. He has not given up a run since September 18th. He gave up a run to Kansas City. In the postseason, it's 13 innings. I said 8 hits. It's 7 hits. Hasn't given up a run. So, again, you guys, hear me out, okay? Here's Shep out. I think I can speak for my pal here. I'd rather have him on the mound. Don't get me wrong. But you see how tight these games are, right? One mistake in a potential game 5, and now we know game 5 is coming, can make all the difference in the world. I love, conversely, what Alan said. We've scored on Class A his last 2 outings. Don't get me wrong. I'm terrified of him.
Right.
But it's shown me he's human. It is.
Yeah.
The mythology about the guy perhaps has been broken now, you know?
I didn't. I look. Who am I to second guess Stephen Vogt? He's going to be the manager of the year. He's got 12, 13 years under his major league belt. He's forgotten more baseball than I'll ever know. I don't. I think it wears on Class A when you're using him to get a 5-out or a 4-out save. I think he's a 9th inning guy. You and I talked about it before. Look, closers are used to 1 inning, and he goes down and gets back up, and I think there's an effect there with him. Raymond said, why didn't Skubal pitch tonight to close it out? New school MLB is a joke. No other old school pitcher wouldn't have wanted the ball tonight to close out a series. Well, first of all, you got to have a guy for game 5, okay? And you like your chances. Second of all, you had some other arms in that bullpen that were rested, right? I mean, you did. And that's why you got him on this playoff roster. When would you have brought Skubal in, is what I'm wondering from Raymond. So the finals 5-4. Tell me, right? That was the final. When are you bringing him in? In the 7th? Is that when you brought him in? Because Cleveland scored twice in the 7th, right? So
I think is he in sin? To close it out. Yeah, I thought he was in. You know what, Raymond? Can I take it a step further? You hope to win with the winning recipe that you've had in a game like tonight, and certainly it was there. And Shep, whether guys want to admit it or not, I do think that part of this is setting yourself up for next series. You find a way to win with that winning recipe, and all of a sudden you're looking at a scenario that completely changes, in my mind, the complexity of the potential ALCS. You have Scooble ready for game 1. You can come back and go in game 4, and potentially you can pitch him again in that series, Shep. And I get it. I understand it.
Yeah, I don't know if you look that far ahead. I think you win the series first. I mean, AJ Hinch has always preached, I'm going to win today's game, and he's going to win the series. So his belief was pitching and winning today's game. I don't think Scooble was ever in the discussion. I don't think he ever thought about it. My question to Raymond would be, when is it you're going to bring him in? If it's in the 7th, when your team is up 3-2. And that's when I believe Cleveland scored twice to take a 4-3 lead. He said, close it out. You want to use him for the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. I just don't think that would have been smart. Okay. Just because he's your best pitcher, first of all, he's never come out of the bullpen, right? At least not recently. So that's number one. And I think pitchers can adjust to that for sure. But I think you have to at least take into consideration that your team is down 4-3. I'm going to make sure I have the best pitcher on the planet right now pitching in game 5 and roll with it, and knowing that he's got other fresh arms out there. I don't think you even consider using him. Sorry. And I don't think by the way, I don't think that's old school philosophy. The belief that the only way Scooble comes in is old school is I don't think that's a fair categorizing of that at all.
Ray said Yankees are going with Cole tonight to close out the Royals, not worry about tomorrow. Cole started on Saturday, though.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole started on Saturday. So there's a big difference there. There's a huge difference there.
My apologies. So Ray wanted to know why Scooble didn't start.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay. I thought he was figuring to close out the game. Okay. Well, Scooble started game 3, correct?
Game 2.
Game 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
On Monday.
On Monday.
Yep.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, today's Thursday.
Yeah. Huge difference. Huge
no
difference.
Way.
Yeah. Saturday versus Monday, huge difference.
Yeah. No way are you starting him today.
Yeah.
No way.
By the way, David said Tarasenko scored for the Wings. It's 4-2 Penguins now.
Oh, it's
4-2? 4-2 Pens.
Boy, what an idiot. I mean, first period, I said Red Wings look really good, especially on the power play. I thought they looked really fast. Remember, Pittsburgh was blown out by the Rangers 6-0 last night.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would think they have tired legs, which, is an old cliche.
5-2, by the way. 5-2.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 5-2.
That sucks.
Yes. Yeah.
It was a pretty first goal.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that update.
He's pretty good. Yeah. 5-2 now. O'Connor just scored. Shep, very quickly, I know we need to take care of business, and we'll get more of your thoughts, obviously. Let me tell you about my friends at Legacy. I was just talking to Alex Giulio today. Great guy, part of the great staff at Legacy. And did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? I did. My family did. And they did for us what they can do for you. Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. And trust me, from experience, it's quick, easy, and painless, which is key. Legacy has helped our listeners, like me, by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and, of course, help save you some money. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today at 586-209-4106 or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quote. So they called the goal off. Okay, so Pittsburgh's goal does not count. It is 4-2. 4-2 Pens on top for those of you that are are watching the Red Wings. Shep.
And then the Yankees are
goaltending.
up 3-0, Sean. Yankees up 3
Yeah.
games. You know,
Boy, wouldn't it be fun to knock off the Yankees again? Gosh, damn it, wouldn't that be fun?
it's funny. I saw so much circulating. Where it's the Tigers are going to play the Royals, 84. Then they're going to play the Padres in the World Series, 84.
Yeah.
And if it's not the Royals, it's like, boy, it'd be great to knock off the Yankees again.
That's what was funny, Shep. One of the things, and I don't know if you and I talked about this the other day, but I think it was The Athletic came out with a ranking of the best fan bases left in the playoff or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give them a pass, okay? Because we haven't seen postseason baseball here in 10 years, okay? So I'm going to give them a pass in that regard. But my guess is this was probably a younger writer, because I'm telling you what, Shep, and you know this about me, while you were probably working every one of these games, I was sitting at every one of those games in 6, 11, 12, 13, and 14 with my son in the stands. We had our season tickets. Those are some of the most raucous, unbelievably loud, fired up fans I've ever seen. Even game 3, when everybody and their brother was sitting there against the Orioles, going into the 9th inning, just going, okay, this run's over. This isn't just the end of this season.
Yeah.
This run is effectively over. Like this is the day it all ends. They went nuts waving those stupid towels coming back from the commercial thing. I always laugh at that. And I'm not one of these Detroit kids, the shaft. There are great fans here. Don't kid yourself here. Unbelievable fans. And they showed out the last couple days.
Yeah. So my issue with that was I believe I looked up the writer, and I think the writer didn't even cover the Tigers back then.
Of course.
And I think, not that this is a huge deal, but I think that the number of followers they had were like 500 on X, which again, it isn't a huge, but I'm thinking to myself, how many times have you been to Comerica? How many times have you been to these other places? Or are you just watching on TV when TBS seems to drown out the noise a little bit? Don't tell me they didn't drown out the noise yesterday. They absolutely did. It was a lot louder than what you heard on TV. Am I wrong about that?
Sure.
Absolutely, it happened.
Yeah.
People in San Diego were complaining about the same thing. So these polls, these rankings, you and I love to talk about them. I think people love to talk about them. I get caught up in it too. Tomorrow, I'll be talking about the quarterback rankings, okay? All this other stuff through week 6. But it's ridiculous to say that it's the 8th best and some of the others are the old Yankee Stadium and the old Busch Stadium.
Yeah.
It's bullcrap. Dude, for example, I don't even think, I was trying to think, was Fenway on that list? And I'm thinking, have you been to Fenway and watched it? Were you in Seattle a few years ago when Seattle was playing in the playoffs? Because that was super loud.
Insane.
Stop with this. Stop with this. I'm going to put New York. Of course, you got to have both New York stadiums. You got to put the Mets in there, and you got to put Los Angeles in there. Dude, I mean, stop snow jobbing people. People like you and I look at all that stuff. All right. I think it was CBS. I didn't think it was The Athletic. I thought it was CBS Sports. They're the ones who ranked it. And I looked at the writer and I thought, wait a minute, you've only been part of this publication for the last few years. How in the hell do you know how raucous Comerica Park gets when there's a playoff game?
Shep, I listen, there are a couple games that jump out to me, and being in, I'll never forget the noise when the Pistons beat the New Jersey Nets in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference second round. Okay, before they went and played Indiana, I was sitting next to our friend, the late Jamie Samuelson. We could not hear each other when the introductions were happening. It was that loud in the Palace of Auburn Hills. I'll never forget that. Being at the Lions game as a fan when they beat the Cowboys, and I'm not joking, as great as the Maglio game was, okay, when they beat the Yankees and had the impromptu party on the field where all the guys came back out and were pouring champagne, and there was this roar that you can't replicate it. I can't even explain it to you. Anybody that was in the building that day would tell you that. Those are ones that stick out to me. So, listen, is it personal to me? Absolutely it is, because those are great memories with my son. Being in that building for so many of those moments are great memories with my son. But I'm also speaking factually. Those are some unbelievable crowds. And I think Detroit always shows up when their teams are in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure the Lions last year in the playoffs at Ford Field was a lot more than people ever expected on how loud that was. I remember being at a Monday Night Football game at the Silverdome covering the Lions and the Raiders. It was, I mean, I couldn't even hear myself think, it was so loud. So, yeah, Detroit, you're right. Detroit always seems to represent, just because we don't have 9 million people like New York doesn't mean that people in that building or any of the buildings that our professional sports teams play in doesn't get loud, because it gets super loud.
David chimed in, always a bitter pill to swallow when you lose a closeout game at home. Emotions aside, the Tigers have an excellent chance to win Game 5 and move on to the ALCS. No doubt about it.
Yep.
We're not. I don't think either one of us are being doom and gloom. I would rather be in this position with Tarek Skubal in the mound than not be in this position with Tarek Skubal not on the mound. But, man, you know how tight things get. I mean, that's the thing. Shep, that's the one thing I always jump back, and we were talking about Cashman in New York. 06, the Tigers beat them. 11, the Tigers beat them. 2012, they smoked them. And the Yankees didn't have the pitching, okay? Everything gets tighter this time of year. You constantly see teams that find a way to grind it out, or maybe have those deep bullpens like the Royals did, give the Royals full marks when they went and won the World Series. And you take a look at how Cleveland's doing it and Detroit's doing it, and it's a little bit like that. But when the margin of error is that slim, okay, one mistake can make all the difference. Justin Verlander was on such a heater in 2013, and one bad pitch to Mike Napoli flipped that series, man. I mean, really, it did. So
really good one,
Sean. Things that I worry about, Shep. I really do. Those are the things that I worry about.
Yeah, what a great memory about the Napoli. I had forgotten about that. I also didn't know this. Justin Carrier sends us a note saying CBS ranked the Tigers as the 9th best pitching staff in the playoffs. First of all, I didn't see that. So thanks, Justin, for that information. Second of all, how is that possible when they tied, I believe they tied for second in all of team ERA, tied for second in all of baseball as a pitching staff?
I would love to read that write-up. I would love to see the rationale. I really would.
And again, I didn't see it, but I'll guarantee you that it refers to they have one legitimate starter. So I'd love to know why. I'd love to see that write-up. You're right, and see what they've written about the other staffs.
Couple comments. Let me try to catch up before we talk about tons of these fly-by sports writers don't even watch your games or know anything about the teams past or present. David, there is more to that than I think you even realize. I have no problem saying it at this point in time in my career. Shep, you and I have both worked with people where I was aghast at how little they knew. Like, I'm not being disrespectful. I am shooting 100% like, huh?
Sean, look, I have said this since our early working days at DFN. And I used to get in a lot of arguments, not debates, but arguments with people we worked with. And I said, fans rely on us to form opinions. And it's really important. We need to be at practices and or games. And the pushback I received was, no, we don't. All we got to do is share opinions and make sure they're strong opinions and so on. So, look, sports fans have accepted it. I suppose those who digest the news accept it too, because the people who really know are the reporters, and yet we're listening to talking heads. But we've accepted it. So I don't know why I hear these complaints quite a bit, because it happens locally too. It happens with local air personalities. They don't go to a damn thing. They watch it just like you do, and then they talk about it. So I get a little tired of. I mean, I think it's an appropriate note, but I get tired of it because it doesn't seem to make a difference.
The factually incorrect stuff just drives me nuts. And then that's why, I'll never forget. That's why I do sarcastic, dumb shit like crap like that. David, let's see. Alan, I should be watching college football on Saturday, not sweating out a game 5. Tom said, let's remember the Tigers were dead at the end of July and got really damn hot to get in. No doubt about that. Gary, I just fear of a crap game by Scooble. So you know what, Gary, there's nothing wrong with saying that. And to me, it's not even the fear of a crap game. How about just a mortal Scooble? Like just a mortal Scooble who gives up a couple runs in 6 innings, Oh, gasp, he's got a 3 ERA, but that's huge this time of year. So I don't have any problem. By the way, Todd found that quote. I'm going to read this.
That's
quote.
A good one. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, read it.
You cannot sing the praises for AJ Hinch enough in terms of how masterfully he's worked the pitching staff down the stretch here in the Tigers' surprising playoff run. Sure, there's AL Cy Young winner Tarek Skubal at the top of the rotation, but otherwise, the Tigers have been piecing everything together. They did so to the tune of a 2.79 staff ERA in September, trailing only the Guardians, Braves, and Raves. Can you win playoff games with openers and bullpen games? It's kind of defeat the purpose. Okay,
I don't know. Ask Tampa.
Yeah,
Tampa's
they're bad.
gone.
They're bad, but they had a 2.79 staff ERA in September. Okay.
Yeah, no
That
kidding.
makes
I mean,
sense.
what do you mean? Can they win it? How have they won it?
Yeah.
Of course they've won it. Okay, and teams have in the past. It doesn't mean it's the way you want it created, and it doesn't mean that's how you would really devise your roster. But that's what they have. Don't tell me they can't do it, knowing full well they've already done it and teams have done it in the past.
Yeah. All right. Let me talk about our favorite realtor. And of course, I'm talking about Lindsay Broadwell. When it comes time to sell your house, you're buying, you're selling, both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? There she is, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville, and she's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Shep, you mentioned it before, but pal, be sure we don't have enough good sports talk as far as I'm concerned today. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not on anymore. But Shep, tell everybody you're going to be up, in about 3 hours during your morning show?
Well, not 3 hours. You used to do the same show and did a hell of a job. Yeah. So X's and Bros 6 to 9 throughout the state of Michigan. Yeah. So it's people love talking Tigers, man, just like you and I are talking. But this gives me some good information as we get ready for the show tomorrow morning. Yeah. You listen to MichiganSportsNetwork.com. And look, you do stuff for Woodward Sports. So we're both keeping busy. I wish
I'll be on tomorrow. Yeah. I'm actually going to be on tomorrow. So
tomorrow morning.
Yep. Actually the 11 to 1 show. 11 to 1 show.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
You know what? It's guys that just go out there and give an honest effort. As far as I'm concerned, you can't put a price tag on them. There aren't enough of us out there, quite frankly.
Yeah, I love what Bill said here. Hinch should get a sponsorship deal with Gorilla Glue. That is so creative. That is so well done.
And he quoted Dean Martin. I'm a big Dean Martin guy. Like the sailor said, quote, "Ain't that a hole in the boat?" No doubt about that. Alan chimed in. Alan, you've been hot. How about the two heavyweights going blow for blow, Jose Ramirez and Zach McKinstry? I do like how we responded tonight. Shep, that, again, you can't, McKinstry going opposite yard for a home run.
I know.
You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this up, man.
I would never have thought that. Never would I have thought that.
Matt, Scooble equals Drago, Cleveland equals Creed. Look, I like their chances. That's all I'm going to say. I like that. I like their chances and not. Gary said, if you don't think everyone was watching Hinch, what Hinch is doing, you're crazy. Why pay 5 starters? He's changing the game right now. That is going to be really interesting because look at the impact that Madden and Tampa had on the game. Shep, I wonder how many copycats we're going to see. You wonder aloud.
I don't think it's going to change the game. I think people want starting pitchers. I just don't think Detroit has them. They had way too many injuries. If that's the case, you would have thought, Billy Beans and the Oakland philosophy would have changed the game and more teams have done it. And that's not necessarily the way it's gone. Some teams have, but not every team. And I don't think teams want to do it this way. I don't think the Tigers want to do it this way.
No, you'd rather not. Are you kidding me?
No. The Tigers next year, as we said, they're going to have a starting rotation at the beginning of the season. You hope it can stay healthy. You hope you can get 32 posts out of each of your starters. That's not likely. Most teams' philosophy, Sean, they'll tell you is, we're going to have to be ready to have about 14 to 16 starters this year because of injury. But in a perfect world, what A.J. Hinch and Scott Harris would love to see is Eric Skubal, Reese Olson, Jackson Jobe, a free agent pitcher, not Kenta Maeda, and another Tiger pitcher coming into their own. Who that is, Ty Madden, Kiter Montero, Casey Mize, Matt Manning, who knows? But that's what they want. They don't want it to be done this way. They just have to do it.
You have to do it. No, that's exactly it. Skubal is by far the best pitcher in the league. Game 5 win. It's easy arithmetic. Don't talk to me about simple math. I've screwed up simple math before. Okay, that's an old bit, but I've done it. Gary, thank you for the kind words. Sean knows, but you guys have no idea how much we miss real sports radio. Appreciate that. You can check Shep out in the morning. McKinstry, of course, former Great Lakes Loon and CMU. Chippewa, MLB already talking about MLB. Yeah, you got some Chip pride there, Shep. There's a little.
Yeah, I tweeted that out. Chip Uwa, good for him.
Yeah. MLB already talking about introducing an inning requirement for starting pitchers.
Yes, I'm glad Alan brought that up. Somebody told me that they were talking about you've got to go at least 5 innings. That's moronic. You can't do that. You can't say you're the starter. You've got to go at least 5 innings. You don't do that with position players. You can get pinch hit for. You can get pinch run for. You can get that defensive replacement at any time. You can't tell starting pitch. What if a guy struggles? Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to sit there and tell me who was it, Sean? Dylan Cease. I think he threw 3 innings, 3 1/3 for San Diego last night. You're going to tell me Mike Schilt, sorry, he's got to pitch 5 innings.
Right.
But he's getting his ass kicked. He's got to pitch 5 innings.
Yeah,
that's the new rule.
How do you
stop with the regulations? Baseball.
Yeah.
The game is fine. I don't like all the new rules that you've implemented, but you've implemented and people have embraced it. Okay. Stop with tinkering to try and make it perfect. No game is perfect. Okay.
No doubt.
You and I love all these sports. They are not perfect. Stop with this bull crap that you've got to throw 5 innings to be a starter. That's ridiculous.
Yep, no doubt about that. Let me talk about our friends from the Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those two guys right there, the Handsome brothers. That's Mike Husak on the left, Jeff Husak on the right. They have over 20 years of industry experience, and they understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. And that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, you're already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 states. The investment world, well, it is a complex one. And if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Man,
they're going to help with your wealth. But on the other hand, the Lions have broken Seattle, which is a good one. One more thing, because I know you got another show coming up.
Yeah.
Blair saying this is working out great. Hockey on ESPN Plus, football on Prime, and baseball on Shep's TV. I'm sorry about that, Claire, but thank you for that. That is so flippin' funny. Really
Lions. Well, Matt, that Geno Mahomes isn't playing the Lions this week.
That's he's Sean. My family and I do these picks. We pick every game during the week, right? And then we tabulate the end of the season. I picked Seattle tonight. I think I was the only one in the family that picked Seattle, and I picked Seattle because I thought San Francisco has looked like crap lately, and I bought into a Seattle at home and a really important win for them, and they're getting trounced. So shows
what
you
a
how much
strange. I'm sitting here kind of staring at Todd right now. This is a strange occurrence. If you follow what we do, Todd never does what he's about to do right now. So either World War III is starting and Todd's breaking the news, or something big's happening. What's up, Todd?
No. So the one question in terms of baseball always tweaking itself.
Yeah.
Do we need to adjust the amount of teams that make it into the playoffs? Are the Tigers proof of that moving forward?
In the sense of what? You think more should make it?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
I think it's at a sweet spot in both sports right now. And the one thing that I will say, I always use the NFL as an example because I can still remember my old man losing his shit when they added the wild card. This damn Atlanta Falcon team, okay? If
Steve
you're
Bartkowski.
Year, this Bartkowski, who's this William Francis guy? I think that was his name. William Andrews, and then the Francis was their wide receiver, whatever. Bitching up a storm about them, wild card. But the crazy thing about the NFL, and then they did it again to us in 90, and they did it again a few years ago. The NFL, it always works. And I think it's the idea of selling hope and keeping seasons alive, because we all know there were so many times with the Lions that we were already looking at mock drafts in middle of November and certainly in the beginning of December. So you're selling hope. And I think this is the MLB's way of selling hope, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Any greater than this, but this is about as much hopium as they're throwing out there, because you're keeping teams legitimately alive.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't have any business being alive, right?
Yeah, I was not, Todd. I was not one of those guys who wanted the second wild card, so I sure as hell didn't want the third wild card. But I get it. I mean, look at how many different fan bases were intrigued and all in at the end of the regular season, or at least with a week or 2 weeks to go. The only adjustment, I don't know if this would answer it for you, the only adjustment I might make, being that it's more of a balanced schedule now, is that I would just have the American League and the National League. And if you want to take the top, 6 teams from the American League and the top 6 teams or 8 teams or whatever, that's fine by me. Maybe, but I think people like the divisions. So if you want to do that and you want to take, I think 6 teams is just fine. I don't want to see more than that. But you're talking to the same guy who, in the college football playoff, I don't want a bigger college football playoff either. So I think we're creeping closer and closer to, let's just let everybody in. I can't stand that stuff. To me, I'd rather have quality over quantity. I get that you get a wild card like Arizona last year. The Tigers have surprised this year. The Mets are surprising. They just beat the Phillies and eliminated them. That's all great. But how many is enough? You have the 6 best teams from the American League and the 6 best teams from the National League. I don't think we need any more. That's just my opinion.
So the two things that sort of brought me to that conclusion is, if you're on the Houston fan base and your team getting knocked out in a 3-game series to the lowest wild card bid, how do you feel about your 162-game season and achieving the position you do to get bumped out by the Tigers? It seems like there should be the wild card beat each other up, and then whoever wins that wild card series then goes in to play the division winners.
So you're talking about a different format.
Yeah,
I got you. Well, I guess my answer to Houston would be, you had home field against Detroit and you didn't get it done in 3 games. Shame on you.
My answer would be, when, bitch. That would be that's just my answer. Yeah, seriously, you had a weekend series at home against a crappy inferior team, right? A crappier inferior team. Take care of business.
Yeah. And against a team you beat 4 out of 6 times during the regular season.
Yeah.
So
Poor
just mine.
Austin. I went hunting, told my wife I was going to shoot the big one. The Tigers were going to win a walk-off. The Wings were going to win an OT. Well, the buck was 72 yards away. The Tigers just made me 0-2. So at this point, put me out of my misery, Penguins. The wind has been taken out of my sails. Where were you hunting, buddy? Well, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I never went with the bow and arrow, but I've bagged a couple bucks in my life. First one up in Waters, Michigan. Matt, can Wealth Advantage help Chris Illich find his wallet to pay Scooble?
Sean, I would say this. I think that's a near must for Chris Illich and the Tigers. If it's not the offseason, it's got to be sometime during the regular season. It must get done for your team first and foremost and your fan base. You've already recognized it. And because this team has made the postseason, they've won at least one series, and we think they're going to win a second. There's no reason for next year for you to think like, well, we shouldn't sign him because we don't have to, and we could use him as trade bait. That may have been fine for this year until things turned and you didn't get necessarily the return you were expecting or wanted, or maybe they didn't get the calls they expected. But there's no reason whatsoever for you not to sign him now based off not just this season, but based off where your team is expected to go.
A couple more comments before we get out of here. Karen said today in 68, Tigers won the World Series. I was there. I mean, my mom was 3 months pregnant with me, but I was there. Kick return touchdown for Seattle. Matt said, holy crap, Seattle just returned one of those stupid kicks for a touchdown. I'm not going to touch that one. JK cruising. Only playoff that should be tweaked is college football playoff. I've always said 8 is perfect. I agree with you, dude.
Yeah, see, I agree with that.
I agree with you.
12 is too much.
Greater than 4, 12 too many.
Agreed. And they say they're going to go more than 12. Most people will tell you there's going to be more than 12.
Yeah. Do we pitch around or walk Quan on Saturday? I'm more scared of him as than Ramirez at this point in time. You should be. Yeah. Ramirez has been quiet other than his home run on a changeup right down the middle.
Right.
So, yeah, Ken, 8 years, $220 million for Scooble are in that neighborhood. Ted said 5th Penguin goal must have been overturned. Yes, it was. Not watching, so don't know what happened. 4-2 Pens after 2. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. One more time. Let me see. Where was the Scooble contract? What was that suggested?
8 years, $320 for Scooble in that neighborhood.
He's a Scott Boras client. Yeah, that's so. Help me with that. That's $40 million, right?
Yeah, you would. I tell you what, you would make Scott Boras happy, just like he was with Chris's daddy. Sean, you know this. Boris loved Dave Dombrowski and Mike Illich, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He made some money for a few of his clients, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you this. That's a really tough one. Okay, in Major League Baseball, our contracts, because I think you and I are on the same page here. It's easy to spend other people's money.
Oh,
okay. So how much is enough? How much is insulting and all that other stuff? So tell me what it is. Justin Verlander makes $43 million. So does Max Scherzer, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole makes $36 million a year. Now the numbers are always going up. If you're Scott Boras and you're Tarek Skubal, immediately you think, wait a minute, Patrick Corbin of the Nationals makes over $34 million. So why shouldn't I shoot for more than that? Because he's better than Patrick Corbin. He's going to win the Cy Young. Patrick Corbin hasn't won a Cy Young, right? I mean, these are the little things that you're looking at. It's no different than selling a house. Okay, when you and Kristen sell that mansion, other people you're gonna get Lindsay Broadwell, and you're gonna say, you see what all these other houses are for sale? Okay. All these other houses that are for sale, give me some comps. Well, that's what they do in baseball too. Agents will give you comps. So Blake Snell, lefty. I don't mean to just use lefties. Blake Snell, $32 million, right? Patrick Corbin, as I said, over $34 million. Garrett Cole, $36 million. Jacob deGrom hasn't, he can't sneeze in Texas, but he's making $40 million. So they're probably not that far off with that suggestion of 8 years and $343 million.
Well, and you're absolutely right about, people being wonderful at spending, somebody else's money. I mean, take my kids for an example. I had an orchard in my backyard of money trees, and they're all gone.
Yeah.
Every one of the money trees. I planted a 50 money tree in September. My daughter came home one weekend. It was picked clean. No more 50s. They were all gone.
Oh,
but they still ask. They still ask. Hi, Dad. I love you. And the hand goes out, right?
All I know is you better get that green thumb and plant another one. That's all I can say. You're hosting so many shows.
I love it up there, Austin.
You are hosting so many shows on Syndicated Presents that you're going to build that tree pretty soon. I'm confident in that.
Speaking of which, isn't he a pro? He's such a pro. Check him out, X's and Bros in the morning. After this, we actually have Off the Board. Mike and Blake are waiting. So let me tell you about catering before we get out of here. All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Really appreciate it. Austin, just north of Oscoda, was the second deer that I bagged. I got one in Waters when I was 11. True story. Mm-hmm. And then the second one that I bagged, 15 maybe, in just north of Oscoda in Harrisville.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, gosh, Austin, if you get one, I'll buy some venison, like jalapeno cheddar jerky off of you.
Oh, that
venison
sounds good.
Jerky, Shep, is so good. It really is.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got to get out
brother.
of here.
Listen, have another good show.
You're going to be on the air in like 17 minutes, right?
Yeah, and you'll be on the air in 17 seconds, and I'll see you on Monday.
All right. Shep, always a pleasure, my friend. We'll talk again on Monday. Todd, thank you as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
You guys, thanks for staying up with us. I wish we could say we'll talk Saturday night. We will talk Saturday night, but later we'll do the college football recap and we'll talk some Tigers as well. See you, Shep. Bye-bye. Have a great night, everybody.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.